What's going on, guys? This is your boy XQ420. I'm welcoming everybody back. Another episode, Showtime with the Cube. Tongue-tied right out the gate. Maybe it's because of this episode that I'm a little tongue-tied. As always, it's your boy XQ420. I've got the co-host with me on this particular series, The Last of Us, Mr. Ryder Lee, the movie, TV show aficionado himself. Mr. Ryder Lee, how you doing this afternoon?
Doing great, X-Cube. Thanks for having me on. Man, I don't even know where to begin with this bad boy, but we're going to get into it, so I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Now, if it's y'all's first time to this channel, if you watch us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Listen to us on podcast platform, hit that follow button. We appreciate everybody who has been checking us out so far. So we are going to get into The Last of Us episode 3. Guys, if you have not seen our review on the first 2 episodes, go check that out. We did a combo review on that, so definitely go check that out from us. Episode 3 diverts quite a bit from the source material, like 100% from the source material. I mean, It had me with question marks the entire episode. And my question marks were kind of centered around, when am I going to get more of Joel and Ellie?
Yep.
That's what I was saying.
That's what I was thinking too. And also, X-Cube, like right before it went to that cutscene, I was thinking, because we were talking about the show last time. Remember whenever we were talking a week ago, we were like, yeah, they're probably going to do some flashbacks in the beginnings of the episodes, which I agreed with. I thought for sure they were going to be doing that. And then we have Joel taking Ellie out and showing her that field, as he didn't want her to see the dead bodies and the people that were there in that field. And then I was like, well, I guess we're not doing a flashback this episode. And then, boom, all of a sudden the entire freaking episode is one giant big flashback.
It's a whole flashback. And it's not even a whole flashback of Joel. You know what I'm saying? It's not a whole flashback of Joel, which I thought it was a risque move. I thought it was a very risque move. Because you kind of want to see where the relationship between Joel and Ellie, how that evolves even more in this particular episode. And I think them switching over to Bill and Frank kind of diverted our attention away from what I believe the show should be about. How you feel about that?
I agree 100%. And the whole premise of the episode really makes zero sense. Like, it would have made sense if the guy from Parks and Rec, what's his name, that plays the man with the conspiracy theorist that is in the show. Bill and Frank. So it would have made sense, way more sense. I'm probably jumping. I don't want to jump ahead.
It's all good. We're just going to kind of discuss this episode.
Okay, cool. So basically, the episode made absolutely no sense because Bill and Frank both die at the end of the episode, right? When Bill is actually alive in the source material, and he's like a pretty big character in the source material, right? So it would have made way more sense for the show, because basically they serve no purpose. They serve no purpose in the rest of the episodes. They were just there for this one episode, and the entire episode was completely revolved around that. It really reminded me of Breaking Bad. Have you watched all of Breaking Bad?
I actually haven't. I've actually only seen a couple episodes of that.
Okay, well, there's one episode in that series that's called the Fly episode, right? Okay. And the entire episode just revolves around them trying to kill this fly. An hour randomly in the middle of all of this crazy meth manufacturing and gangs and like all that and Breaking Bad, they throw an entire episode out there with just about them trying to kill a fly. That's really what this episode reminded me of, right? It served absolutely zero purpose. Now it would have served more purpose.
That's good.
Yeah, but I mean, it turned out to be a really good episode. Like, and it's kind of like a cult favorite following of Breaking Bad. That they kind of like that episode, but I don't feel that with this episode. I feel like it was a pointless. They could have solved that entire thing in like 15 minutes. Right?
Yeah, I was expecting when. Okay, so Bill, they do keep true to the theme as far as him being a conspiracy theorist. In this particular one, which it ain't really no conspiracy at all. It's just fact. This is the way life is. So you see as because when Joel and Ellie come up, you see the garments of the woman, and you go back in time, and you see her with her baby. Those particular garments. So I was like, oh, they're going to show us what happened to these people, what happened to certain people in these situations that thought they were going to get help, and the military took them out and killed them. That's what I thought. That's where I thought this was going, and then we're going to go back to Joel and Ellie. Then all of a sudden, we got to Bill and Frank, and I was like, okay, we're going to have a few minutes of this, and then I seen where they eventually have their sexual encounter per se. And then you see a moment where Tess and Joel come by, and I'm like, okay, so they're gonna tie this in somehow. Go back to Joel and Ellie. They're gonna come up. Bill and Frank will be here, and they'll try to devise a plan, or somebody will be trying to break in, raiders or something like that, while Joel and Ellie are there. And then it didn't happen. It just kind of turned into their lives. And I was like,
which makes me believe, like, whenever we were talking last week about the first two episodes, I was really proud of them. I was willing to give them a pass on having this non-binary looking character, but they didn't make her non-binary in the show. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I was willing to give them a pass on that, whatever. I'm glad that they didn't throw all this propaganda nonsense into the first two episodes, right? I was proud of them. I'm like, all right, cool, HBO, you're doing good, right? Then they hit us with this third episode, which makes absolutely no sense, and there's really no point to the entire episode other than it being about a gay couple, which to me feels like a bunch of propaganda. They spent over 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was that long, and really the only premise of them was to leave Joel and Ellie some guns, a little bit of food, and a truck with a battery, so they can get to their next destination. But it delved into their lives. Frank, of course, was just a straggler that fell in one of Bill's traps. And of course, Bill's hiding in his bunker, and then he's got his gas mask on, and he jumps out, with his shotty. He was ready to lay down the law, and he's like, "Oh man, the town is now my oyster." Isn't that right? Isn't that what they say? The sea is or something like that. The town is my oyster now.
And that's how I imagine it to be. That's how I would want a scenario playing out for me personally in the apocalypse. They come in, they grab all the people out of the town, and you're the only one left in the town because you were prepared and you had a secret underground bunker that you had all this stuff stashed and all this food and weapons and guns and stuff. That's like the perfect scenario that I would want to happen to me, right? I actually just asked someone a question the other day. I was like, hey, would you rather have a zombie apocalypse, or would you rather be one out of just a few left on the planet? Like, that's it. It's just you and a few others scattered across the entire world. Everyone else just disappears, right? Let's just use this as an example. Everyone else just disappears. Everything is left the exact way that it is now. There's no bodies anywhere, nothing. You're just left here with a few random groups of people scattered across everywhere. What would you rather happen? Would you rather have a zombie apocalypse, or only be one of like 100 or one of 200 people on the planet?
If I know that there's a pure apocalypse, my whole thing is I want to know where the bomb is at. Okay, where they're dropping the bomb, and then I want to be there for said bomb. I want to be like right in the landing area. like right there. Because let me tell you something right now. Like this particular situation that you see up here, this is like one in a million people who's ready for this type of stuff. I was talking about this to actually today to somebody at work because they were like, oh, if something happens to my wife and my daughter, you know, and they happen to pass before me, man, I'm done with it all. I'm gonna go off the grid. I said, okay, which grid are you going off of first? And then second, I'm gonna dig a hole. I'm gonna start shitting in the woods. I'm gonna make me shelter. I said, Bo, you got 2 to 3 weeks in you max. Okay, you got 2 to 3 weeks max. Man, you roll your ankle and you cut yourself and you're dead out in the woods, man. It's that quick. Do you not understand how folks were dying, you know, 100, 200 years ago? They would die from a cut, man. I'm talking about like a paper cut killing. You know what I'm saying? But that would be you. Sir, that would be you. I mean, I mean, there's no doubt about it. So I don't want to hang around for it. If the end's coming, Bo, I can't rebuild civilization. I just ain't got it in me. All right?
Well, I mean, but you would have all the food. You would have all the food and all the buildings. You can just go and explore and just like there's nobody here. You can just be doing whatever you want. That would be I would rather have that than some kind of zombie apocalypse. I'd rather be one of the few left around instead of a zombie apocalypse because, you know, you can do whatever you want to do. You can go stay in a different house every night if you want to stay in a different house. You can go to the Capitol. You can go to the White House. No one's going to bother you. You can do whatever you want. You can go exploring and tear shit up, tear stuff down, whatever you want to do. That would entertain me for the rest of my life here on this planet.
Well, you know, life is better with others. But that's the way I feel about it anyway. I ain't saying you got to have a lot of folk. Okay. I ain't saying you got to have 30, 40 folk, but you know, it's always better. And I think that's what this particular episode was attempting to get across as far as how you could find love in the most dire of situations. I think that was the theme.
No.
Do you think? I mean, I think that's what they were kind of shooting for, potentially. Yeah. This love story in the midst of all this chaos and destruction and, you know, loneliness, that one spark.
Yeah, and if you replace, you know, Frank with a woman or somebody else, then yeah, I mean, they would be trying to convey that kind of message and that being alone is, you know, never the way to go, that you need human connection, you need human interaction, because whenever Bill and Frank first met, like I knew that there was sexual tension there. You could feel it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, how long was it since Bill seen anybody? It's probably a really long time, right? And that's probably why he was acting a little weird and a little strange and a kind of standoffish and all that. And like whenever he walked into the dining room to give Frank his meal, he was acting like kind of weird and like kind of like startled and shocked a little bit. So I mean, that's what, you know, not seeing anybody, not feeling another human touch, not even feeling really another animal or anything like that, what that would do to your psyche of a person would probably be astronomical.
Now I give it to him. Now he set himself up well. Man had booby traps. He had turned on electricity. You know what I'm saying? He found the gas pumps. I mean, but he was in there. I mean, for him alone.
But we're trying to, you know, take our disbelief and make us believe that he was only raided one time since the 20 years that he's been up there with his fence and all that by himself.
Yeah.
Ain't no way, bro. More people's going to be coming after him, dude. There ain't no way that only one raider group showed up to that thing. There had to have been at least 4 or 5.
Especially seeing how it looks like that if you're in the open areas, as far as not in the cities, you have almost 0% opportunity of actually seeing one of the infected. Now, I did notice that.
Yeah.
Because as Ellie and Joel were walking, I mean, that in that area, like, there was nothing. You know, there wasn't no fungus or nothing on the ground. So. Yeah,
because they were taken out of those small cities and those small little areas by the government. The government was like, hey, come with us. We're going to take you to someplace safe. But if there's not enough room, we're going to kill you. Only if there's enough room. then you'll be safe. But if not, then you're going to be lined up and shot down and killed. So
yeah, I don't think they knew that. I don't think
they knew that either, but
they didn't know that. They didn't know that. Hey, it's like, hey, man, jump on board, and all of a sudden you're like, so, I mean, and right after that, you're out alive, bud. I mean, that was it for them. Now we did get a little bit of a brief explanation of how they believe that this particular apocalypse started, and it was fungi in the flour, in the food, in the food and stuff like that. You see, as I don't know the source material of the game, I don't know if that's the way that it actually spread in said game, because supposedly it's coming from one particular meal. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking that it has to have. I don't believe this has mutated on its own. I believe that it had been able to latch on to humans through governments playing with the particular fungi. What do you think about that?
And it's very similar, very strikingly similar to what a lot of people have been saying about our reality.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Very similar about the snake venom. I don't know if you've watched that documentary, and how a lot of this can be transmitted and transferred through our food, that they're putting certain stuff in our food, they're putting it in the water that people drink, and that's getting them infected. So it's really similar to what a lot of people have been talking about, that's actually really happening in our reality in 2020. So I found that very interesting, because that's how you would do it, right? If it was an actual conspiracy, then you would want to put this infection, this fungal infection, into something that people consume. And it's been proven that that's how people actually get a sickness, is through food and through ingesting it.
Right. Now this particular fungi is actually reality. Like it's actually out there in nature, and it acts in the exact same way that you see it here. Now I had somebody. I watched a video where somebody explained it, and they explained it with ants. So ant will ingest this quarter. Golly, I can't say the word. It's quarter something. I can't say the name of the fungi, but anyway, the ant will ingest it, and it will actually start to burrow into its nervous system, and the fungi will take over its nervous system. Now, the fungi will actually make it where it tries to go back to the queen to infect the rest of the ants, and actually take over the colony. And then if it can't make it back, what it'll do, it'll grow out to a certain point, and it will make the ant stationary. And if any others come around it, it almost explode and send spores all over the place. So, this is legit, like a fungi that literally takes over a nervous system to continue to spread. So this is actually based off something that's actually in our nature right now. Now, of course, as I said before, it can't actually infect humans. So I hope this ain't giving nobody any ideas. Okay, I mean. I hope this ain't giving anybody ideas, man, because we don't need any more ideas out here. All right, I think we're good enough on that. So we're back to the episode. Of course, as we said before, Bill and Frank were rated only once that we were shown, and I believe this was over 03. I think if I'm correct, I think they met up in 05. It was either 05 or 06. I think it was a couple of years later than Bill and Frank. But, of course, once we fast forward all the way, it seems that Frank has some type of debilitating disease that is slowing him down almost to the point of death. And, of course, he says it's over. They got the pills. We're going to crush him up. I want one good last day. One good last day. Now, something that we find out in this episode is that as far as the radio transmissions, it was actually coming from Bill and Frank, which we didn't know who they were coming from to begin off with. So those radio receptions, and we do have that moment where Tess and Joel are there, and they're trying to make almost like a pact between them for resources. And they also say that Joel and Tess are romantic, which I thought. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was really interesting because we talked about that on the last episode.
Mm-hmm. We weren't sure. We weren't sure. Yeah.
I kind of went the platonic route because we really didn't see any kind of too much of romantic interactions in the episodes before, besides Tess coming in and laying down with him after she had been beaten. So yeah, that was a nice confirmation. You hit that one nail on the head. Now, what I did find really interesting with Bill and Frank was, hold on, I just lost my train of thought. What did you ask? I'm sorry.
No. As far as the dynamic between Joel and Tess with Bill and Frank, as far as their relationships, of course, we talked about, they confirmed kind of the romantic relationship and how they were actually pinging back and forth as far as through radio signals. I thought that kind of brought the episode together as far as their connection per se, because for the longest of time, like the Bill and Frank wasn't making any connection with me to Tess and Joel. So I just wanted to know what you thought about that once we actually saw them on screen.
Yeah, it was really interesting. And what I like about the Bill and Frank thing is that when Bill and Frank, I just had it again and then I just fucking lost it. I'm just gonna have to go on to something else because I had it and then it was gone again. I must be thinking about something completely different. But
oh no, it's all good. Well, you know that Frank is, Bill is, of course, he's strictly paranoid about everything, paranoid, and Frank is more open as far as, he said, "Oh, we're gonna have friends and stuff like that," and you just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? How you gonna have friends in a world like this? You know, it's kind of like dog eat dog. If there's not one of these flesh eating demons trying to come get you, it's a raider trying to break in and steal your shit. You know what I'm saying? So, how they made that dynamic between the two. What they say, opposites attract per se. And I don't really know. I don't know if Bill was actually gay beforehand. It's just been so long without touch that it's just like, I guess might as well. I don't know. It's just like the moments in between them.
Well, I mean, what would you do though? What would you do though, X Cube? Like if you were out there and you were kind of homeless and you were just kind of straggling along and you found this guy that had a really awesome place. It looked like it was fortified. It looked like it was safe. You'd probably be willing to do a little gay stuff to get in good with this dude. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows what was going through his head or what he was doing? Was he gay to begin with, or was Bill gay to begin with? I was obviously stated in that show whenever they were getting ready to lay down and do their business that Bill had never done it before. Right? Because, Frank asked him, have you ever done this before? And he's all rubbing his chest and shit. And then Bill's like, oh, no, I haven't. So that brings in the question, were either of them even really gay to begin with? Was Bill even gay to begin with? Or is this just a... It's
kind of like you go to prison for 30
prison
years.
Gay, yes, you're prison gay. You're gay for a little bit, and then once you get out, you're not gay anymore. So was Bill gay for the apocalypse? And then if we go back to...
Hold on. Oh, so you telling me this is prison gay? That's what you're saying?
I think it could be prison gay. Yes.
This guys, we have found it. Okay, Ryder found this moment. All right, where he lost train of thought. This is what he was trying to say.
Yeah, prison gay.
This is. He said, "I'm not actually. If I get back out in the streets, back to Poon, I will go." But
yep.
in my current situation, I need something. You know what I'm saying?
It's a circumstantial thing, X-Cube. It's 100% circumstantial. You know, if there was a woman there, he would be with the woman. But since there's just a dude there, he's with the dude. You know?
Yeah.
Gay for play, baby. Gay for play.
Yeah, and I don't know. The moments in between were very awkward.
Yeah.
There ain't no, like, it was just like the someone's forward. I don't think.
You know what the gayest part? You know what the gayest part of this entire episode was? The gayest
What's
part.
that?
The gayest part was whenever Frank took Bill to their little garden.
Oh, when they ate that strawberry.
Yeah, they're feeding each other strawberries. I was like, did you?
It was bad.
Did you really have to put that scene in there? Like, you already got all this gay shit in there, and you had to put a freaking feeding each other strawberry scene in there, and they're all sitting on the ground, and Bill's like looks like he's in ecstasy. He's putting his head back. Oh yes, feed me those strawberries, Frank. Like, was that really necessary? The Last of Us creators, was that necessary?
Oh man,
Did we need that scene?
And they straight up said they took liberties. They said, now, we took some liberties in this episode, and they did. Because in the I did read an excerpt of what actually happened in the video game. Joel and Ellie actually run across Bill, and at that point in time, Frank has actually hung himself in the house because he had actually been bitten a couple of times. Well, I'm assuming Frank hung himself. Bill might have killed him. but Bill does refer to him as his partner. So it doesn't really dive into details on that as far as in the video game. But of course, Bill's very paranoid, and he's kind of just like stoic and like. And I watched one of the scenes, like he just cuts Frank down. It's like, oh yeah, he just ended it. It's just kind of like disgusted. Like, but after it goes away from that. He helps Joel and Ellie. You don't actually know what happens to Bill throughout the rest of that of The Last of Us and of the sequel. As far as video games, it didn't really give you any details on that. I think you hear about them in passing, but it didn't give you details of their finality. So they kind of added this in and then wanted to have it as a particular finality as opposed to, oh yeah, I help you, and you might be able to come back to them later on in a particular situation. And the actual trailer leading up to it, I thought I was going to get, because you see this dynamic, you see people trying to break in. I was like, oh man, they're going to run across a place where they've kind of fenced it off and they're running their own community, and it was nothing like that at all. So
yeah, it wasn't, and I what they could have done to make it gay, they should have just went full gay with it. It was just go super ultra mega gay. They've already dipped their toes in it. They might as well have just dressed Frank up in a dress whenever they got married. They should have just went completely ultra super mega gay, but they pulled back on the gayness a little bit for that scene. They put him in suits. Like it's two actual men getting married together. Nah, they should have put Frank in a dress, like a nice,
just went all the way out.
Wedding gown, and just made it completely full gay. Go full gay.
Went all the way out. Went all the way out. Don't hold back.
Go all the way with it. But yeah, it was really interesting how they, like, again, they only got rated one time, so like, which is kind of unbelievable. Now I understand the whole point of not having a lot of infected or a lot of zombies there, because again, we discussed that with the military and the government moving those people out of the city. So it makes sense that there's not so many, infected or zombies. There were a few that, Bill got in his traps, and which was very cool. Like whenever those raiders showed up and he had all those the pyro and stuff.
He burnt them to crisp.
Yeah, it looked like they were just shooting the fire. Like, like how can I put out how to shoot the fire? Yeah. You know what I mean? But like, what was that going to do? It looked like they were just going into the fire, which didn't really make any sense either. I don't know why that they would do that, but it was kind of unrealistic how it was only. I wanted to see more action. There needed to be more action. If you're going to give me a bunch of gay shit and make me go through all that propaganda, at least give me some gay action shit. Like have more raiders coming to attack them and more battles.
Or have to deal with more infected or whatever.
Exactly.
When they were having to go back to the Home Depot, to pick up a handsaw. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Pick up one of the handsaws, something like that. A close call of being bitten or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It did tend to get very slow.
Yeah.
Very slow. I will say that, as opposed to the way the first two episodes. Now I know in all TV shows they usually have an episode where it kind of breaks away, and kind of gives you something that was a different dynamic. But they just could have approached this one a little bit different.
They could have done some different things. They could have switched it up a little bit, and they could have gone full gay. I wanted to see full gay. Why didn't they give us full gay? They should have went full gay. Why didn't they do
that? Godly. Now, of course, we get back, the fateful day. Frank had told Bill, he said, look, this is my last day. I want you to crush these pills up in my drink. You're going to lay me in the bed, and that's going to be it. Now, we didn't see it, but I guess Bill had spiked. Let me get this right here. Let me get the sad music going. Oh man, it's a sad moment, guys. Sad moment. I ain't gonna lie to you. Bill has, I guess, he has spiked the whole bottle of wine. I mean, I guess he had that many pills, because you never see him crush up any pills in his drink.
Which is another really interesting connection, because in the very first episode we saw Joel, he was basically a drug dealer. So that implies that that's where Frank and Bill got their drugs from, was directly from
Exactly.
Joel. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the assumption there. So yeah, they had their last hurrah together. You know what I'm saying? They shed their last tear. They went upstairs, laid in the bed, locked the door, and left the window open, because he knew Joel was going to come back around. Now, of course, the note that he leaves speaks of, Joel, this stuff is here for you so you can take care of and protect Tess. Of course, when Ellie's reading this, she stops when she gets to Tess. So that kind of reiterates their relationship as far as their closeness there. And he kind of snaps. He's like, don't ever say Tess again. So, so I don't know at what point in time, as far as in these episodes, he's going to kind of put Tess in the background and Ellie becomes like his sole, like, purpose. What do you think? Probably around episode 5 or 6, maybe?
Well, I mean, they could have done that exact same thing with not killing Bill.
Right.
Whenever Joel and Ellie just go back to their compound or whatever, Bill and Frank's compound, they could have done that exact same thing with keeping Bill alive. Like, Bill for sure probably would have given them the supplies that they needed, the guns, the ammunition, the vehicle with the battery and all that to get out of there. It really just did not, I didn't understand the point of going through this 45 minutes with these two gentlemen.
It was a Romeo and Juliet.
Regardless if they're gay or not, that doesn't matter to me. Even if it was a man and a woman,
right?
It still defeats the purpose of the episode. There's literally no purpose to the episode. It makes absolutely no sense. Why would they focus? Because the entire show that I'm watching, I'm like, okay. I even spoke to the person that I was watching it with. I was like, the only reason that they're spending this amount of time on Bill and Frank is because Bill is going to live. To me, that's the critical and common sense thing. Like, why would you spend so much time on these two characters just to kill them off at the very end?
Yeah. So it almost tries to give you a happy ending of Bill and Frank. Lovers who have been with each other for 20 years, per se, or close to 20 years, going through their last day together, eating their last meal, drinking their last glass of wine, becoming, I was going to say man and wife, but man and man. I think it's like a Romeo and Juliet.
It is, but it doesn't fit either way. It doesn't fit if they're gay or if they're not gay.
Yeah, right.
then I'm not, picking on it so much because it's, there's two men and it's too gay. Like, I mean, I really don't care. But does it serve the purpose for the story? Does it further anything in the story? And I don't believe that it does. I believe that it served zero purpose, because you could have done it the exact same way with Bill surviving, like he does in the source material, and done the exact same thing, right? So they could have literally cut out 45 minutes of that episode, and we could have been doing other things with Joel and Ellie on their way to the compound and fighting infected and zombies, and then giving more background story premises to the whole main story here. But instead, we got this entire focused episode on these two gentlemen that ultimately, in the end, serves zero purpose, in my view, and in my point of view.
Not much of a plot pusher, except they got a truck out of it. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Like, they got a truck, and they got the means to make a battery.
And which, according to the preview of next week's episode, they wreck that pretty freaking fast. They
lose the truck, yeah. Which I think that thing's pulled directly from The Last of Us when they come up on this particular town where they have to fight. Now, of course, I don't expect to see any infected in this next episode. I expect it to be just them in a battle with these particular raiders, looters. Now, it does say that that Joel's going to try to find his brother. So he does make that clear that he's trying to find his brother, and hopefully when he finds him, he'll know what to do with Ellie, where to get her, what facility to get her to, of course, and kind of go from there. Now, there's going to be some turning point during this where he realizes that maybe I don't need to turn her over to these people or whoever, because they're going to do some fucked up shit with her. You think that could happen?
Well, doesn't Joel mention in this episode that his brother used to be a Firefly?
Yeah, the fire.
Yeah, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know how this is going to really work out with Joel and his brother. I don't know if because there's something that's up there that the audience hasn't quite figured out, and there's, we're speculating on what's going on with his brother and why he hasn't had any communication, how long he's been missing, where he's at. Is he dead? Is he alive? Is there a secret meetup location between him and Joel? If things go south, they can all meet at this certain spot, which kind of seems like that would be the way that it would be.
Maybe the case. Yeah.
Why would Joel, go out there and in this huge open world and not have any idea about a location that he would actually be at? So where do you think that this is going with Joel and his brother? How do you think that is this going to be something that happens later in the season, or do you think that this is going to be in the first half of the season where they kind of reunite, or we find out more information about Joel and his brother?
I think it's going to be more of a climax. I foresee episode. I think they said there's 10. If I'm correct, there might be 10 episodes, but I can see episode 8, 9, and 10 maybe getting it with the brother. But I think there's going to be some type of conflict in between them. As far as between Joel and his brother, because of course we all know they go separate ways, and there's probably an underlying reason why, a difference in philosophies on how to approach their lives now, or something like that. So I think there are going to be some type of conflict, and I probably would expect, seeing how Joel's going to be a broken character, that his brother will probably pass. More than likely, by the end of this first season. That's what I feel. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, it's either going to be Joel or his brother that's going to die at the end of the season. Now, do we have any idea how many episodes or how many seasons HBO has signed on to make this show?
Should be only 2.
Just 2?
Yeah, because they even said, as far as the video games go, they don't have any plans for any more video games after The Last of Us 2. They said if they're able to come up with an intriguing storyline to continue with Ellie, they will. If not, they'll leave it there. And I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, hey, some people, if I'm able to come up with an intriguing storyline, how things proceed with Ellie, we'll go forward. If we can't come up with anything of significance, then let's just cut it off. We had a good run. Let's let it go. And I'm fine with that.
But that's the only thing about HBO, though, is that...
You think they would embellish?
Well, yeah, I mean, they would have to. They're not going to put this... Because the audience views have been really crazy good on the show so far now. I don't know how next week's episode is going to go, because I actually heard a few people talking at the grocery store, overheard them talking at the grocery store that they're completely done watching the series, which I think is kind of unfair. But I'll be interested to see what next week's episode numbers are like, and if they can kind of regain what they had before. So... But with HBO, though, they don't just do anything for 2 seasons. They never come out with a big tentpole show like this and only do 1 or 2 seasons, right?
And that might be the case.
I mean, I think that House of Dragon is going to at least be 3 or 4 seasons, and there's only one source material book for House of Dragon, that George R. Martin has actually written. So at some point they're going to have to, create their own storyline. And I feel like that's probably, well, I mean, it depends on the success of the show, obviously. I mean, if it doesn't keep going up like it has from the first, second, and third episode, then obviously they would, be like, okay, well, we're only going to do 1 more season after this and we'll shut it down. But if it keeps becoming popular and something that a lot of people are watching, especially on, the premiere of the show each Sunday, then they're no doubtably going to keep going with it, whether they have source material or not.
Yeah. Okay. I can believe that. Now, this particular episode, this was rated the lowest. The other first 2 episodes were 9.2 and I think 9.4. This one was 7.9. So you could tell on IMDb. So a whole lot of more people didn't enjoy this one. I do know one thing: Ellie's got a gun now, and she is going to use that gun to save Joel.
Yeah. In
the next episode, that gun will come in handy. Like he'll be in dire straits, and she will drop somebody.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a good mix of zombies and humans in this next episode. I think, anyway, personally.
Okay. It might be.
They're in a big city, so there's got to be some undead zombie infected walking around somewhere.
Somebody may step on some fungus. Now, I seen somebody talked about the way these particular beings mutate. So initially, they just become enraged, where they're biting, and then from that point, they start to lose part of their face. The fungus grows out their face. And then from that, the next transformation is them becoming the clickers, where they're completely blind. And they just go directly off of what they hear. And then the final stage, if they actually can make it to it, is they become bloaters. And that's where their body, the fungus almost becomes like hardened on their body and almost acts like a bulletproof vest, per se. So somebody explained how they actually evolve, and then they die. So that's the evolution over time, if they're able to make it through that particular evolution. So I think we'll have to see probably a couple. We'll probably see a few more clickers. Eventually, we're going to have to run into a bloater. I mean, a bloater could be, a good 20, 30 minutes of an episode if it's going to be really tough to kill. You know what I'm saying? So I think that'd be very interesting.
Absolutely. It is really interesting because normal zombies and other zombie movies, like their only goal was to eat flesh. And that's kind of how they continued to survive, is eating brains and eating flesh and eating people. That's how they didn't break down and just die. So it's interesting that these infected only have a certain lifespan, and then they just kick the bucket and they're done, right? They just can't be out there forever if, like zombies, like we've been, shown that zombies can basically live forever as long as they have something to eat.
Right, of course. So yeah, guys, that is The Last of Us episode 3. We want to know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. The Romeo and Juliet story per se, as they both do die at the end. Drinking from the goblet. Okay, drinking from the goblet. Poisonous goblet. As they both did. I mean, that's how I seen it. I was like, damn, this is Romeo and Juliet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
One thought they was dead, and so, oh man, I'm gonna drink the poison. And then the other one, they were just passed out. And they woke up. Oh shit, you dead? I'm drinking the poison too. I'm like, there you go, bud. I mean, my God. I mean, I was like, okay, so hopefully we focus back up on this next episode. Focus back up. And get back to Joel and Ellie and building their relationship. So that's what it looks like we're going to do. If we have a flashback, let that thing be 5 to 10 minutes tops. That thing be a whole episode. Unless you're going to give me something substantial. Yeah. Like lab leaks, somebody trying to create something. Okay, I was fine with that if somebody gave me that. But don't give us another Bill and Frank episode. Anything else for people out there, right?
No, other than I give it 6 cubes out of 10. Okay. I think, and that's not because of the gay shit in it. It's because
the purpose of the episode.
The purpose of the episode. It just served zero purpose in my thoughts and ideas to the overall story, and that's the only reason that I give it 6 cubes.
Yep, 5 cubes. So that's 5.5 cubes. I mean, that's good enough. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was a couple. It had a couple moments, but if you missed this episode,
you didn't miss anything.
You'd be okay. I think you go for episode 2 and right into 4, and you would be okay.
Yep.
Like there'll be no remnants of this particular episode.
Nope.
In the rest of the series, I don't see why there would be at all. So yeah, I hope y'all did enjoy this episode of Showtime with the Cube. Be on the lookout, but we got busy time coming up. Okay, we're going to be talking about James Gunn recent release as far as DCEU news. We're going to be doing that. We've got Knock at the Cabin this Friday that's coming out, so we'll be reviewing that. We also got a couple trailers we're going to do. February's busy, guys. Be on the lookout for us on February. We've got Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We got Cocaine Bear. But there's a lot of stuff hitting the table. So be on the lookout for all of that stuff from us. So from your boy SQ420, co-host on this one, Mr. Ryder Lee. We'll catch y'all on the next Showtime with the Cube. Peace out.
Peace.